There is a specific kind of file that crosses my desk on a Monday morning and looks, at first, like nothing. No flags, no officer notes in the margins, no Crown memo clipped to the front asking for special handling. Just a standard aggravated assault package, section 268, with a victim, a suspect, a hospital report, and a set of photographs that the responding officer thought were routine. I am telling you about this file because the officer was wrong. I was wrong. The doctor who examined the suspect was wrong. We were all looking at the wound. None of us were looking at what was living inside it. My name is Qiya Voss. What follows is File 08. I have changed the names. I have not changed anything else. The first entry in the disclosure package is a 911 transcript, time-stamped 3:47 on a Tuesday in early October. The victim is a truck driver. We'll call him Martin Hale. 34 years old, no criminal record. Not so much as a parking ticket. I'm going to read you the transcript the way it appears in the file. Dispatcher, 911, what's your emergency? Caller, there's a guy on the road. He's hurt bad. I almost hit him. Dispatcher, sir, where are you located? Caller, eastbound on the service road by the overpass. He's crawling. There's blood on his face. Dispatcher, is he conscious? Caller, yeah, he's talking. He keeps saying she bit him. He keeps saying that over and over. Dispatcher, sir, is the person who attacked him still on scene? Caller, I don't see anybody. Just him. Just this guy on the road. He smells weird. Dispatcher, he smells weird. Caller, yeah, like I don't know what that is. Something's wrong with him. That last line is the one I circled in red when I read the file for the third time. Something's wrong with him. At 3:47 in the morning, a trucker who had never met Martin Hale in his life looked down at him on the asphalt and knew, before the paramedics arrived, that something was wrong with him. He could not have articulated what. He did not need to. Martin Hale was transported to the regional hospital. The intake report describes a man with lacerations to the forearms, the neck, and the right side of his face. Contusions consistent with a blunt force assault, and 3 distinct bite marks. 1 on the left shoulder, 2 on the webbing between the thumb and index finger of his right hand. The ER physician noted that the bite wounds were unusually deep. In the margin of the chart, she wrote, "Through skin to fascia, consistent with sustained force. Not a defensive bite. Not a defensive bite, a sustained one." Someone had put their teeth into Martin Hale and held on. His statement to the first officer on scene was coherent, if shaken. He said he had pulled over to help what he thought was a woman in distress. She had been sitting on the curb under the overpass, rocking back and forth, mumbling. He approached her. He asked if she needed him to call somebody. She looked up at him and, in his words, smiled like she recognized me. Then she attacked. He described her as a white female, mid-40s, emaciated, wearing a men's canvas jacket 2 sizes too big, dark hair matted to one side of her face, a scar running from the corner of her mouth to her ear. He said she was stronger than she should have been. He said when she got her teeth into his shoulder, she made a sound he couldn't place. Not anger, not hunger. He said it sounded like relief. He told the officer, and I am quoting from the statement, "I don't think she wanted to hurt me. I think she wanted to give me something." The officer underlined that sentence. There is no other notation beside it, no follow-up question, nothing in the interview transcript where the officer asks Martin what he meant by that. I have thought about that omission many times. I think the officer didn't ask because the officer didn't want to hear the answer. The description was enough. The scar, the jacket, the location. Every constable in that division knew her on sight. She had been arrested 11 times in the preceding 4 years. Possession, mischief, failure to comply, 2 prior assaults. She slept in the ravine behind a strip mall half a kilometer from the overpass. CPIC had a photograph of her from a breach hearing the previous spring. I will call her Denise Varga. 2 officers located her at 6:15 the same morning, not in the ravine, but walking slowly along the shoulder of the same service road where Martin had been found. She did not run. She did not resist. According to the arresting officer's notes, she turned when they called her name and said, "I was looking for him. I wasn't finished." The officer cautioned her, placed her under arrest for aggravated assault, and walked her to the cruiser. In the notes, he wrote that her eyes would not focus on his face. They kept drifting past him, as if she were listening to something a few feet behind his shoulder. The booking hall is where the file stops being ordinary. I have read the booking officer's narrative more times than I can count. It is written in the flat procedural voice these reports always use. Subject placed in holding cell 3. Subject searched incident to arrest. Subject's property inventoried and sealed. And then, in the middle of a paragraph about fingerprinting, this sentence appears. During processing, a pronounced odor was noted emanating from the subject's lower right extremity. A pronounced odor. In a booking hall that has seen every version of unwashed humanity this city produces, something about the smell coming off Denise Varga's right foot made a 20-year veteran stop what he was doing and radio for a supervisor. They asked her to remove her boot. She refused. They asked again. She told them, and I am quoting from the officer's notes, "You don't want to see it. It's sleeping." They removed the boot. The photographs are in the disclosure package. I have looked at them exactly once. I will not describe them in detail. What I will tell you is that the flesh of her right foot from the ankle down was no longer the color flesh is supposed to be. The skin along the arch had split in 3 places. The wounds were not bleeding. They were, and this is the word the attending physician used in her report, productive. Something was coming out of them that was not blood and not pus, and the lab never fully identified. The booking officer wrote in his narrative that when they photographed the foot, Denise Varga was perfectly calm. She watched them work. And then, unprompted, she said one sentence that the officer included in the report in quotation marks because he wanted it on the record exactly the way she said it. "It doesn't hurt anymore. That's how you know it's almost ready." She was transported to the hospital under police escort. The attending physician, a different doctor than the one who had treated Martin Hale 4 hours earlier, examined the foot, ordered blood work, and told the officers that the patient could not be held in cells in her current condition. She needed IV antibiotics, surgical debridement, and observation. Minimum 48 hours. The officers did what officers do in that situation. They released her on an undertaking. Conditions: reside at the hospital until medically discharged, abstain from alcohol and non-prescribed drugs, have no contact, direct or indirect, with Martin Hale, keep the peace, appear in court on the date set. They served her the paperwork at her hospital bedside. She signed it without reading it. The officer who witnessed the signature later told me, off the record, that when Denise Varga handed back the pen, her hand was cold in a way he could not stop thinking about. He said it for weeks afterward to anyone who would listen. Her hand was cold like meat from the fridge. At 11:42 that same evening, Denise Varga got out of her hospital bed, removed her IV, walked past a nursing station where 2 nurses were charting, and left the hospital through a side entrance used for deliveries. Security footage shows her walking across the parking lot at a steady pace. She does not look back. She does not limp. She should not have been able to walk on that foot at all. The aggravated assault package arrived on my desk 8 days after the incident. I read it the way I read all of them. Victim statement, officer narrative, medical records, photographs, suspect criminal record. I made my notes for charge screening. I flagged the file as a strong prosecution. Independent witness, clean victim, consistent physical evidence, suspect with a history. I did not flag the booking hall quote. I did not flag the truck driver's line about the smell. I did not flag the hospital walkout because, in my experience, people with her background walk out of hospitals all the time. I want to be clear about this. On the first read, nothing in this file frightened me. I closed the folder, put it in my out tray for the articling student to draft the Crown brief, and moved on to the next one. That was a Tuesday. The following Monday, 3 new files landed on my desk from 3 different divisions. Each one was an aggravated assault. Each one involved biting. Let me describe them in the order I opened them. File 1, a 46-year-old woman, we'll call her Qiya, assaulted in the parking lot of a 24-hour pharmacy by a man she described as walking like his legs didn't belong to him. He bit her on the forearm. She fought him off with a car key. He walked away. Responding officers could not locate him. File 2, a 17-year-old male attacked at a bus shelter by an older man who emerged from the tree line behind the stop. Bite to the calf. The teenager described the attacker's breath as smelling like something in the back of the fridge that had been forgotten. Officers arrested a suspect 2 blocks away. The suspect was nonverbal during booking. The suspect had no criminal record. File 3. A woman walking her dog along the canal path, attacked from behind by a man who put his teeth into her shoulder and held on, in a victim's words, like he was waiting for something to happen. The suspect was apprehended on scene. The suspect had no criminal record. I read the 3rd file twice before I understood what I was looking at. The suspect in File 3 was Martin Hale. I am a case manager at a Crown prosecutor's office. My job is to assess evidence and make decisions about whether charges should proceed. My job is not to look for patterns that connect files across divisions. My job is not to build theories. My job is to stay inside the 4 corners of the disclosure package in front of me. I went outside the 4 corners. I pulled the booking photos for the 2 other accused. Neither one had been known to police before their arrest. I requested their medical intake records from the detention center. Both had been flagged by booking officers for unusual odor. Both had wounds on their lower extremities, consistent with what the file called necrotic tissue of unknown origin. I went back to Martin Hale's hospital intake report from the night of the original assault, and I found, in a paragraph I had skimmed on the first 3 reads, a single sentence from the attending physician. She had cleaned and sutured the bite wounds. She had administered a course of broad-spectrum antibiotics, and she had noted, in her discharge instructions, that Martin should return immediately if he noticed any change in the appearance of the wounds, any unusual odor, or any loss of sensation at the bite sites. Martin Hale did not return to the hospital. Martin Hale went home, slept for 16 hours, woke up, and at some point in the 5 days that followed, walked out of his apartment and bit a stranger on a canal path. In his post-arrest statement, he told the officer that he did not remember doing it. He said the last clear memory he had was of waking up in the middle of the night with his shoulder burning and thinking, with a calmness he could not account for, that the burning had finally stopped being pain and started being something else. He told the officer, and this is the quote that sits in my head at night, "I wasn't scared. I was hungry in a way I didn't have a word for. I knew where to go." The lab ran samples. The samples came back inconclusive. There were bacteria present that the lab could identify, But there was also a substance the lab described in the only line of the report that made the hair on my arms stand up as not consistent with any cataloged organic material. Recommend further analysis. Further analysis was not performed. The sample, according to the chain of custody log, was misplaced during transfer between facilities. I have requested it 3 times. It has not been located. Denise Varga has not been seen since she walked out of the hospital. The law prosecutes the vessel. It has no mechanism for prosecuting what was inside. The infection is not the infection. The infection is the carrier. Something is moving through this city from one mouth to another, and it has been doing it, I suspect, for a very long time. Long enough to learn how to hide inside the kind of people nobody looks twice at. Long enough to know that a woman with a scar and a criminal record and a rotting foot is a file that gets closed, not a file that gets questioned. It counted on that. It is counting on it right now. These are the files they couldn't explain. This is what was in the wound. You have been listening to File 08 Unredacted by Qiya. The dead stop breathing. They didn't stop talking. So don't walk away quiet. Leave a comment. I read every single one. Like this video so it finds the people who aren't afraid to look. Follow me wherever you listen, and subscribe. That's the one that matters most. Because these cases don't stop. They just wait for someone willing to open the file. I'm Qiya. See you in the dark.